obviously the tale of two halves. I mean, the continuation of the first half was more of like the turnover issues that have kind of plagued you guys for the first 2.5 games. What was different about that second half?
Yeah, well, one, we didn't turn the ball over, and I think we just had better pace, and especially in transition, getting out and running, and just kind of flowing into the offense instead of kind of getting into it. Like the first half, it was kind of stagnant getting into it, and the second half, it kind of just flowed really well out of transition. And we were able to get some open looks out of that, and I think that was probably the biggest difference from the first half to the second half.
Do you feel like confidence wanes throughout the season, and the second half like that can kind of get you back to your level?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say it necessarily wanes. I mean, I would say my confidence and a lot of the guys' confidence never really wanes regardless of what's going on. But for sure, having a second half like that can definitely propel you into, the next game to feeling good and getting off to a hot start for sure.
So your guys' pace numbers have been down a little bit over the past few games. Have you felt that as a player, and how much more enjoyable was it to be able to run?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I necessarily felt it more as a player or not, but definitely the second half was a lot of fun, just running up and down, the ball moving. Wasn't a lot of dribbling and just finding the open guys shooting, kind of playing basketball how it's supposed to be played. So,
what do you think led to those turnover issues, especially knowing that it was an area of emphasis going into the last few games?
Yeah, I think just kind of overcomplicating things, trying to do too much instead of like the second half. I said we really moved the ball well and moved without the ball instead of kind of really just dribbling the ball a lot the first half and kind of just overcomplicating things, trying to do a little too much. I think that's kind of what led to those first half turnovers.
Providence has really had a strong start to conference play. What do you see out of them, and what's going to be the key to Saturday?
Yeah, well, I haven't watched too much of them. Obviously, I know they're a top 25 team and they're really good, and they always play physical. Obviously got a new coach this year, Coach English, but I played against him when I was at South Dakota State and know he's really good. So they're going to come in ready to play, and we're going to have to be able to match their energy and physicality throughout the whole game.
See, they had a big injury in their last game last night. Like, have you ever faced a team coming off something like that where something so dramatically changes the way that they're going to be able to play?
Yeah, I don't know if I have, honestly, but obviously, that sucks, and, prayers out to Bryce and speedy recovery for him, and obviously, that can obviously bring a team closer together and have them play harder, so, with that, we're just going to have to be ready to play.
It seemed like you guys played maybe a little bit more inside out in the second half at Georgetown than you have all season. So was that the plan?
I mean, we try, believe it or not, we try to do that every game, I mean, obviously, it kind of just worked out that way. Obviously, I think, running the floor and kind of getting some mismatches in the post helped with that as well. So,
when teams plug up the, area around Kalkbrenner to make it hard for him to get the ball, what does it do for, the playmakers like you, Steven, Trey? Where are your spots?
Yeah, well, it just kind of opens up the floor a little bit more when they have to bring more guys on Kalkbrenner. Obviously, we feel like we have 4 great shooters around him, and being able to space the floor, it makes it easier for us to get open looks. And obviously, I feel like the last couple games, especially, for me in particular, I've been able to get a few more open looks than I maybe have been in the previous 2 games, especially from the three-point line. And that's a big part to Kalkbrenner running the floor and sealing hard and having to draw attention. So,
have you changed something about your shooting process in the offseason? With the way you're able to get shots up.
Yeah, well, I think I really just worked on speeding up my release and being able to, wherever the ball was thrown to me, be able to just catch it and let it go instead of having to, some guys have a dip in their shot and whatnot, and I just really worked on wherever I catch it, being able to just shoot right there and kind of get it off quicker, and I think that's really helped me this year.
What's the difference in your ability to load up and your feet are set and you're waiting for it versus when you have a quick closeout and you have to get it up?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's just like the pace of your shot has to be quicker when someone's closing out to you really fast. In other words, and when they're not closing out fast, you can kind of just it's like when you're shooting in the gym wide open, you can just kind of rhythm into it where when they're coming to your face, you have to kind of speed up that process.
I think you hit a quick one against Marquette, one that didn't count against Nova. Sorry.
Yeah.
How comfortable are you with the kind of the quick release?
Yeah, I'm pretty comfortable. Like I said, I worked a lot in the off season with that to where it was kind of just second nature now. I'm not really even thinking about it. It's just natural for me. So.
You guys get to come back home now, and it's an early start. So anything that's different in terms of that energy that you think would help you?
No, not necessarily. I love the early starts. I wish we could play at noon or 1 o'clock every single game. I hate waiting around all day to play. So I'm looking forward to it, and it's obviously going to be a great game. So
I guess when you look at Providence on film, I mean, I know they're going to be different dramatically without Bryce, but I mean, the parts around him, what have you seen in terms of the way they're playing?
I mean, they're playing really well. I think, probably I think the most physical team that we will have faced. They'll have a couple days to figure out how to play without Bryce. Obviously, it was difficult last night mid-game to get a feel for what they were going to do and how they were going to do it. But Aduro's really good down low, and Carter's one of the best guards in the league, so they've got plenty of pieces.
They're last year they struggled defensively, especially down the stretch of the season. What's been the thing you've noticed in terms of their resurgence there?
Yeah, I think it's just it starts with physicality. And he brought a couple guys with him that were at his previous stop, so they understood what he wanted. Gaines and the big kid, so they have an understanding. And then a couple of those guys, Floyd, they've been in the program now, so they get it and understand it. But it's a physical basketball team, very good defensive basketball team especially. And then, offensively, when they've shot it well, they shot it really well against Marquette. They didn't shoot it well last night. Unfortunately, it's still kind of a make shot, miss shot game.
Coach, what do you make of the job that Kim has done there?
He's done a really good job, going into that situation where they had a lot of success. Was able to keep the important pieces of the roster intact, which isn't easy to do as a new coach, especially in this day and age of the transfer portal. But obviously he's gotten them off to a great start, and unfortunate about Bryce Hopkins. Everybody in the league is sick about that. One of the best players in our conference, and just you hate to see that happen.
Baylor will be honored for his 500 assists. He's also fifth in active rebounds career-wise. Since he arrived at Creighton, where do you feel like he's raised his game the most?
Yeah, I think a lot of ways. I mean, I think he's more comfortable offensively, making plays for other people. Defensively, he's made gigantic strides. And last year he was the new starter to 4 returning starters, so I think he really walked a fine line of leadership last year. He didn't want to overstep his bounds, I think, since he was a new guy. Maybe tried too hard to fit in. This year he's really taken the bull by the horns and has been a great leader. And the rebounding numbers, the assist numbers, he does everything for our team, and he's been absolutely a pleasure to coach.
How nice has it been to see Trey get back on track?
Yeah, it was good. I mean, Trey's been working, and you always talk about trusting your work, and Trey doesn't lack for getting the extra reps in. And he's, besides scoring the basketball, his assist numbers are great. And after a rough first half, he really cleaned up the turnover aspect as well, and made better decisions with the basketball. So, he's got the ball in his hands more this year, so you have to make more decisions. And when you make more decisions, you're going to make some mistakes. But I was really proud of the way he kind of refocused, reset, and came out and had a great second half.
Carter's one of the best defenders in the conference, obviously. What's the key to executing offensively when a team has someone disruptive like him?
Yeah, he wins the point of attack a lot on ball screens. He's really hard to screen, and he's physical enough and quick enough that he can keep it out of your hands some. And then he's very physical against the drive. So I would guess he's going to spend some time on Trey. So our ability to screen him is going to be really important, just to get Trey a little bit, get him loose a little, so he can get downhill and then make some reads.
But the ball security, it's kind of been a good half, a bad half, a good half, a bad half. Like, where are you seeing like the symptom?
Well, it's been a little bit of everything. We traveled a couple times. We had some against Villanova here, just a couple goofy handoffs that with guys that have been around a long time that you don't see happen very often. So it's the live ball ones we have to clean up. If you travel or you get a shot clock violation, that's one thing. But it's the live ball that we have to be careful. And it starts with not making passes on the move and not taking quite as many chances. I thought at Georgetown in particular, the first half, I thought we had what we were looking for, but it was a second and a half late to get it delivered. And by the time we tried to deliver it, the defense had adjusted. So the timing of some of that is so important. And then understanding if you miss your opportunity, you probably got to pass on it and make a different pass and keep the basketball moving. So it hadn't been a problem with this team, and all of a sudden it's cropped up, and hopefully it's in our past.
I think you kind of mentioned on the post-game radio show you have a feeling that things revert to the means, shooting-wise or whatever that might be. Could you elaborate on that a little bit and where your belief in that?
Well, I mean, if a guy's a 40-some% three-point shooter and he's shooting in the 20s, there's a reason he was a 40% three-point shooter. So eventually you would think that that's going to settle itself out. And, you know, sometimes the guys are shooting a crazy high percentage too, and they're shooting 55 or 60%. And the reality of it is that's probably not going to continue either. So you kind of are what you are with those numbers as long as you're taking the right shots. And I think for the most part, you know, some of our guys that have struggled shooting it are getting good shots. We just aren't knocking them down.